Hello out there and welcome to this tuning guide for the brand new 2024 Ford Mustang GT S650. Let's start with the tuning parts I've given to the car after I've tested the stock car extensively. Since my target is to get this Mustang ready for the A-Class, I've skipped any aerodynamic upgrades, engine conversions and body kits. I really don't like this specific body kit we are getting in FH5 because it's a bit over the top. But let's jump to the upgrades I made in terms of tires and rims. First, I widened the tire width since we stick with the stock compound. Next, I changed the rims because the stock ones look a bit off in my opinion. So I swapped them out with the OC Hyper GT, some of my favorite rims. Since 19 inches are a bit too small for me, I've increased the size by 1 inch on both front and back of the car. Finally, widening the track was not just necessary for the looks, but also for the stability of the wild horse. The next category is the drivetrain. Since the car has a manual transmission, I opted for a race clutch and transmission for quicker shift times. The gear ratio on the stock Mustang was already fine, but the more I can adjust, the more I can mess around, and that's what we are looking for, right? Losing over 7 kilograms for just 1 PI point was fine for me, so I installed a race driveline into the Mustang. Since the differential is basically a free upgrade in my opinion, using the race diff was a no-brainer. Now we are jumping to the platform and handling section. Since the braking system of the new Mustang GT is just a mess in stock conditions, I really had to get the race brakes to make this car slow down at least a bit better. But even the race brakes in this car are not the best I've seen yet. A race suspension and anti-roll bars on the front and rear are also a no-brainer, just like the race differential in the section before. A sport chassis reinforcement on the other hand was not 100% necessary, but I really like the improved stiffness. Maybe it's just placebo, but I think that I can feel the difference. To get rid of some extra weight, I've gone with the sport weight reduction to be in the weight range the car should have been in stock conditions. Finally, we are heading over to the engine upgrades. First, I went for the race air intake because it's one of the best mods you can give to your car in terms of PI efficiency. Next are the race intake manifold, a race fuel system, a race ignition and the race valves. The last upgrade for the engine is the engine block, where I've increased the displacement from 5 liters to a massive 6.2 liters. In case you are wondering why I haven't upgraded the exhaust, the simple answer is the sound. I didn't like the upgraded sound, so I stuck with the stock one. Finally, a race flywheel and there we go, perfectly landing at a PI rating of 800. In this part of the video you can see the fine tuning I've done to the car after a lot of races and adjustments. The tuning should be as neutral as possible, but keep in mind that I cannot make one tune that fits everyone's handling preferences. After that you can see the share code, so you can use this tune yourself. Both cars started at the same time, but you can immediately notice a significant speed difference, which grows as the straight continues. Thanks to the increased power, reduced weight and lack of aerodynamic drag, the tuned Mustang pulls ahead, creating a gap of nearly 1.5 seconds just within a few meters. Since the stock car lags so much within just a quarter of a minute, let's see how they compare on the fast downhill corners. You can notice that both cars lack stability, forcing me to correct with the steering. This is the downside of skipping aerodynamic upgrades. However, the tuned Mustang's better tires let it maneuver through this part of the track faster, gaining another second on the stock car. Overall, the tuned Mustang is 2.5 seconds ahead at this point. Next, let's head to what I consider the most interesting part of the track. 2 long corners that test the car's stability and the performance of its dampers and springs. The tuned Mustang seems slightly unstable at high speeds, but it ultimately feels steadier than the stock model. This could be the worst track section for the tuned Mustang. Now we are approaching the most challenging braking zone on the track, where you can really see how well the brakes work. Although I hit the apex perfectly with the stock Mustang, it's slower than the tuned one, but I was a bit too fast on the corner exit with the tuned Mustang, leading to some sliding and losing a few tenths of a second. Despite this, the tuned Mustang still maintains a slight advantage over the stock one. The next section showcases the speed difference once again and how well the car handles extreme weight transfers. You can definitely manage both with some skill, but if you don't know how to counter steer, it's safer to enter the corners a bit slower, like this, maybe 10 to 15 kph less, to avoid messing up your lap. After this section, the gap has increased by over a second. We are now halfway through the track, and the overall gap has grown to nearly 5.5 seconds. That's a significant lead. After observing the car's handling on fast sections, you can now see how it navigates through the narrow streets of Guanajuato. The tuned Mustang is clearly more agile, while the stock car's softer springs, dampers and anti-roll bars make the weight transfer more challenging, complicating the task of staying on the optimal racing line. In the end, the gap grows again. This is the part of the track where torque is king. It goes uphill, and we end with fast corners that some cars can take full throttle, though aerodynamic upgrades would certainly help. Both Mustangs handled the section quite well, but I recommend avoiding full throttle on corner exit to prevent spinning out. As we reach the final straight, the power difference comes evident again, and you can hear it too. Here's some sound for your ears. The last section was a bit rough, but even with some mistakes, the time difference between the stock and tuned Mustang would still be above 9 seconds. This comes from adding 61 performance index points, PI points, resulting in a time gain of 1.5 seconds per 10 PI points. Quite remarkable. That brings us to the end, where you can see how the 2024 Ford Mustang GT stacks up against other cars I've tested. You can find an Excel list in the video description with all the recorded times so far. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the revs up high and the weight down low.